Yourself if you're on the conference line, please.
My name is Joel Hayes with Water.
See, that's fine. Thank you.
Or that wasn't gonna work.
Okay. Yeah, please remember just to mute your phones. Thank you. Okay, let's go.
All right. Call this regular meeting to order, 11 after 2. Apologize for being a little bit late. Report on, Pledge of Allegiance, sorry.
I was
You're standing up there.
I was ready.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reportable items from the closed session.
No reportable action was taken in closed session.
Excuse me, can you turn that light off? Please?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yep. Potential conflicts of interest.
On the open session agenda, there are,
5A.
oh, I'm sorry, yes, on 5A, Director Cousins will be stepping out of the room. Thank you.
Okay. Public comment for both the groundwater agency as well as the regular session for MID.
Yes, the first 15 minutes of the meeting are reserved for members of the public to address the board on items which are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Speakers shall be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers will be asked to identify themselves and state the subject of their comment. If the subject is an item on the agenda, the president of the board has the option as the speaker to hold the comment until that item is called. The board is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusion should be drawn if the board does not respond to public comment at this time.
Seeing none?
What about anyone on the line?
Yes, my name is Paul Stewart from Gravelly Ford Ranch. The topic I would like to address is the status of the GSP and the coordination agreement. My
Okay.
understanding is that the New Stone group has refused to sign the coordination agreement, and that has resulted in the entire subbasin being held non-compliant. That the subbasin has lost $500,000 in state funding. And I'm wondering what the board is doing about that situation.
So there is an agenda item for that specific topic that we'll talk later under the GSA.
So, did you hear that?
No.
There is a agenda item for that specific item. They'll be coming up later.
It's actually next.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Hearing none, moving forward.
We're going to recess as the MID Board of Directors and convene as the MID Groundwater Sustainability Agency. We have items update on the MID GSA, which includes the status of the GSP coordination agreement and the annual report.
Yes, so I'll move up here so hopefully those on the call can hear. So all GSPs for the Madera Subbasin were submitted by the January 31st deadline along with a coordination agreement which had 6 of the 7 GSA signatures. As was mentioned, New Stone Water District GSA was the one signature missing, and that was an intentional missing or intentional not signing by New Stone Water District. Since then, there's been quite a bit of back and forth between the GSAs and Department of Water Resources, who has been coordinating with the State Water Resource Control Board. As of March 10th, there was a letter received to the point of contact, Brian Thorson, who represents the GSAs within the Madera Subbasin, and that was that DWR found the submittal inadequate due to the lack of signature, and that they will be coordinating with the State Board. A copy of that letter is available on DWR's website. So we're currently awaiting news from DWR and the State Water Resource Control Board. And then further, the GSAs that are coordinating are putting together a joint press release so that we can inform the public of what's been going on. That should be hopefully coming out this week or at the beginning of next week. So we can look for that also. And then beyond that, the annual report. So despite the fact that we've been deemed inadequate, we are still moving forward. We as the joint GSP, which includes Madera County, City of Madera, Madera Water District, and MID, are moving forward with our annual report and planning to submit by the April 1st deadline.
Okay. Questions from the public? Questions from the board? Okay.
Well, I guess,
Oh.
this is Paul Stewart again. The question I would have is, my understanding is that the Department of Water Resources has now said that the sub-basin will not get the $500,000 in funding that is intended to support well measurement. And I'm wondering what the recourse is going to be now with respect to Newstone.
Yeah, can I answer that? So both Madeira Irrigation District as well as the attorneys for all the other various agencies are evaluating their legal recourse vis-a-vis the Newstone Water District and others.
I guess final question is the state itself, Department of Water Resources, going to take any action against Newstone?
We don't know yet.
We don't.
What we know is that DWR has deemed the subbasin inadequate and they're coordinating with State Water Resource Control Board. So we don't have any information as far as that goes at the moment.
Did you hear that, Paul?
Yes, it does seem like they're the ones that should be taking the lead on this, or at least being involved and not shifting the entire burden to the other GS aid.
Yes. We agree there. Okay. Anything else from anybody? Okay. Adjournment.
Okay, we're going to adjourn as the MID GSA and reconvene as the MID Board of Directors. We have the consent agenda. We have items 2A, the approval of the December 17th, 2019 meeting minutes. 2B, approval of the January 16th, 2020 special meeting minutes. 2C, approval of the February 5th, 2020 special meeting minutes. 2D, discussion possible action on the approval of the warrant list payments through March 17th, 2020. 2E, discussion possible action on the monthly financial reports for January and February 2020. And 2F, discussion possible action on the district personnel policies, and that is a resolution number 2020-05, and that includes district policy section 407, 408, 410, 421, 424, and 427. 2 notes, item 2A, there was a correction. Under 6A, it said annual meeting, and it should have said annual retreat for the Flint Water Authority, and that change was also made under Director Davis's report. Another note, if you open the email I sent this afternoon, you do have it, but if not, the staff report was missing on the version that I sent last week. So if anyone needs it, it's here for Tanisha's policies.
I would move for the consent items 2A through 2E as corrected.
So you want to do 2F separately, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a
It
resolution.
needs a resolution.
So you can do it all together, and
I
then I'll
can
do
do it,
roll call.
okay,
Yep.
then I'll do 2F too. I
Okay.
thought that we had to
With
do
the
it
correction to
differently.
2A. Okay, awesome. Motion by James.
Do I have a second?
I'll say.
Second by Dave. Questions from the public? Questions from the board? Poll the board, please.
Yes, Director LaCourse?
Yes.
Director Cousins?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Jansen?
Yes.
Director Erickson?
Yes.
5-0. Okay, we have information items. Item 3A, the Finance and Human Resources Report.
Okay, so we received approximately $4.8 million from the County of Madera in mid-January for the first installment through December 10th. Our delinquency rate for the first installment is the same as last year, approximately 2%. The field work for the 2019 audit was completed on February 26th, and Hudson and Henderson will present the 2019 audited financial statements at the April board meeting. Also for Madera Chowchilla Water and Power Authority, the audit was completed on March 2nd by Brian Jollies, CPA, and that will also be presented to the Power Authority board in April. And the interest portion of the bond payments has been made. The 2015 bond amount was $584,250, and the 2016 bond amount was $443,300 for a total of $1,027,550.
Questions?
our, when we used to collect it ourselves, we were like 6-8% what we had times.
Yeah.
So you're real happy with the 2% and the county part
Yes,
about it?
I'm happy with 2%.
And that was one of the benefits to
Right.
transferring also.
And much less work along with it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's why she's smiling.
It's actually, it's actually not much less work, but I just don't have to process 5,000 checks.
Yeah. Staff.
Yeah,
Okay,
Anything else?
that's it for finance.
Human Resources, Tanisha?
Yes, okay, so, over the course of the beginning of this year, so far, we've been, updating policies, in accordance with new laws and legislations that's passed as of 2020. We have a couple more coming on the next board meeting, that will be, updated as well. We've had a lot of recruitment going on. We're glad to say we have our new, maintenance supervisor in. We've been pretty short on supervising in our maintenance and operations department since last July, so we're really happy to have some help. We are staying in line with our trainings for the most part, and we have some assessments going on for upcoming recruitment as well. And that's about it.
Questions? Thank you.
Okay, 3B, Engineering, Operations, and Maintenance Report.
All right, engineering staff is coordinating with the maintenance department on several different projects. Colony Extension Pipeline is a project we discussed with completing. Also a hospital pipeline to the Rosenbaum property down here under Highway 99. Apparently there was an old corrugated pipe underneath Highway 99, and actually the state went in and replaced the corrugated pipe, and actually it goes into our right of way, so we went ahead and did some repairs in our right of way. We also had about 60 feet of corrugated pipes, since they were there and they had it open, we went ahead and replaced our section with some PVC pipes. So that entire hospital level is in good shape now, going underneath Highway 99. Also, engineering department still doing surveying several roads throughout the district. It is ongoing. Also, the Cerro Viejo contractor has completed the 6-2 pipeline. However, the fencing, guardrails, and other items are still in progress. So that's a 6-2 pipeline. It's all been completed. It's put in place. So the canal is no longer open in that area. It's all being completed. It looks pretty nice. There's still some minor touch-up stuff that they're working on up there. The California high-speed rail is also on the 6-2 lateral bypass. There's a photo there that I put in your pamphlet there that shows the bypass there. They're doing a real nice job up there. They're starting to work on the bypass right now. The concrete liner for the bypass, as you can see, there's been put in. Doing some real nice work, putting a lot of money, but it is coming out really nice. Roberts Head Gate was removed and epoxy coated. That's something the high-speed rail installed a new Rubicon gate there for us, and we had to go back and pull that gate out because it was just set too low. So we went ahead and pulled it out, poured another wall there, brought it up another foot. Other than that, let's see what else do I have here. Maintenance work. Chain link fence enclosure was removed at 32-2 basin. That's where our pump is there. We're going to have to remove that pump. We sent it in to get it repaired. There's going to be a lot of work going on that basin. That pump flow is actually dropped down from about, I think it was about 12 CFS to about 3 CFS, so we're going to go ahead and send that pump in and get it rebuilt and reinstall it. Other than that, let me see. As you can see also, we did pull ahead of the Roberts Rubicon gate. We went ahead and pulled that out because it was getting pretty pitted up. You can see the photos down there, it's pretty pitted. We went ahead and brought it in the yard and did our 2-coat epoxy coating in it. We're going to get ready to put that back in. It has not been put back in yet. So it was definitely it was getting pretty bad as far as the pitting, so we thought it'd be wise for us to pull that out as soon as we can and get that put back in. Also, as I mentioned, the Colony Extension Pipeline, we recently went in and replaced 2,600 feet of pipeline there that was in bad shape. What we did is went ahead and pulled out the existing concrete line, so it took us about 3 weeks, but We had plans to go in there and leave the existing line in place, but we figured out it was just too big of a line to leave in place. We went ahead and just pulled all the concrete pipeline out and replaced it with 36-inch ADS pipe. So we had an area there that was probably 2,000 feet that we had several cracks in it, so we just thought it'd be wise for us to go ahead and pull it out instead of going back and forth in there and doing repairs and getting that out of the way. Grader work is ongoing, as you can see some of the photos that I put in there. That's ongoing. We also started to dredge out some of our canals, the 24-2 north of Avenue 12, actually from the head, the 24-2, we're dredging that whole canal system out. It was in pretty bad shape. There's places there's probably 2 or 3 feet of silt in that canal, so hopefully we'll get that completed here sometime this week, and that should make a big difference on our deliveries through the 24-2 system. Should increase our flows. Other than that, it looks like the Wetland Department is putting in several different trash screens. They total about 22 trash screens that they fabricated in-house, and they've been installing all those in different canal systems throughout the system. So these are all screens, and maybe canal crossing screens, and maybe turnout screens that we're putting in. So there's a total of 22 that we just put in. So we're trying to play catch up on that. And there's a lot of the screens that are out there that are all right now falling apart, so we're trying to get caught up. So that's about it. If you have any questions?
Charles, on that Rubicon gate, that was probably put in before you came.
That was put in right before I came, yes.
So did it have just the galvanizing on it?
It didn't have anything in it. I think that was one of the first ones they put in. It didn't have any coating on it. So what we did is we went ahead and pulled it out, and there's some material that we used to clean it up, and then we put this epoxy on there and set it back in. So the last set of gates that we ordered, we had them treated already before they got here, so we were able to slip those right in. But the older ones that were here before I came along, we're pulling those out and actually epoxy. I think we got 2 more left on the system that we need to epoxy and put back in.
How long was put in, remember? Tommy?
When were they put in?
Around
A lot of them
2012,
were
the
there.
first, that was 2012 or something.
Was 12 the first ones?
When I first started here, was the first gate was going in, he had a big main trench out.
So I think there's just 3 more that we gotta pull out and do the same type of stuff. And as you can see, the coating, the way they're sitting there, they're pretty well getting ate up, so we definitely gotta get in there. If we get a chance before this water season, we'll try to pull them out. If not, right after this next water season, we'll try to pull them out and get those epoxy coated, because we definitely gotta get in there and protect them before they start falling apart on us. Yeah, it's not taking long. You can see I don't know, you really can't see them in the photo, but there's some pretty big pitting going on with those gates, so we're able to kind of save them, so the pitting. And it looks like the epoxy coating we've been using has been working real well so far. You know, the ones we did last year, we checked them out in the year, and it looked like they're doing real well, holding up really well.
Good. Any other questions for Charles? Thank you.
And please, if you're on the conference line, remember to mute your phone. We're getting some feedback. Okay, we have item 4, General Manager's Report. 4A, update of activities, the Aqua Spring Conference, and water supply.
Okay, first off, thanks for everybody for accommodating our social distancing here, and those of you who called in, your patience is appreciated as we work through this. Hopefully you can hear us. That's okay, we're trying to get as close as we can to the microphones. But because of that, we are being impacted on other events that we typically would be attending. As an example, the Aqua Spring Conference, which was scheduled for May, has recently been postponed. They didn't give us a date, but that is another impact. One of the things we did want to bring up with the board is, as you know, we recently sent out invitations for our Centennial event, which was scheduled for May 15th. It is looking like are going to ask for potentially those type of events to be canceled or delayed, so we did want to run across the board if it would be a good idea to go ahead before we sell too many tickets for that event, if the board would like to go ahead and delay that till later in the year in the fall time period.
Comments from the board?
At a staff level, I think it might be a good idea just to avoid getting additional funds tied up in renting equipment and supplies, and others who are, for example, caterers and such lined up, that they can adjust their schedules and such. We also, as you know, everything is getting delayed, so the ability to find a venue in the fall is likely going to be difficult, so we'd like to be able to move on if we're going to take a different path on the dates.
It's too unknown any sooner than that, so
I think at sometime in the fall, work with both the facilities and the caterer and try to work out a date in late September, 1st of October that would work.
Yeah, and we're already reaching out to them just to make sure that we can get things going ahead of time. So we've done that. If the board is okay with that, we will go ahead and look at delaying that event. It's a special event. We want to make sure that people are comfortable attending it and that we can have everything put together.
The invitation didn't actually go out.
Yes, they did.
They have, unfortunately, but the good news is we have not actually sold too many tickets. They just went out. So I think we can say just keep those in hand, and we'll get a new date sent out as soon as possible and get that lined up.
And for those who've already purchased tickets, we're proposing to give the option to either, obviously honor their tickets whenever the date is rescheduled and or provide a refund.
Okay, is everybody?
No, don't have much choice.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
I think it's the right thing to do, and so we will move recorded the news, which is still pretty white out there in the foothills. The Bureau of Reclamation just asked for additional schedules, so we'll be applying those to them soon. At this point, depending on who you talk to, the percent declarations of projected amounts is still a pretty big range. Currently, we're at 20% class 1 supply, which is very, very low. The risk on a call by the Bureau of Foreign Supplies to meet the exchange contractor demands is very low. It's not expected to happen, but it is still a risk. So the Bureau is being pretty conservative on their declarations as we speak. So right now, just
25.
20% class 1, currently 20% class 1. They did ask for a 25% schedule today. Communications with staff indicate that 25% is likely in the bag, but they have not declared that yet. Of course, 0% class 2. So we'll be watching that closely. The pattern has changed. It feels like winter again outside, so hopefully we will get a couple more storms in there that will push us up. I think the 20% is extremely conservative at this point, and that would be a very limited run. Hensley flows have also been very low. Luckily, there was some water carried over from last year in there, so we're creeping up on 30,000 acre feet in the reservoir. 25,000 of that would be usable supply, the minimum pool at 5,000. So there is a decent amount of water in Hensley as we speak, and it does inflows have picked up slightly, but it has been so dry we haven't seen those big high-intensity flows coming in this year like we typically would in the spring.
Are we still limited on what we can hold?
No changes to operations of Hensley. We do have what we carry over available to us. The limitation on how far we go down is always.
Otherwise.
Encroaching.
Oh, and that changes daily based on river inflow, so we're not going to hit that at this point unless we get some really massive storms coming in. But right now, it's shooting up fast.
Okay, I couldn't remember when it started. Whether it was
No risk to encroach into flood space this year. So that's the water supply. Of course, we're getting a lot of questions of when we're going to turn water on, but at this point, with the 20% declaration, that wouldn't supply very long run. So, of course, we can't commit to anything at this time, but at best, we're looking at running in our peak demand period, hopefully getting something in June, July. But until we get additional information on where we'll fall on our declaration, I don't think we'll have anything to publicize as a start date anytime soon. Hopefully, in April, we'll know more. Well, I did want to report on a really good meeting we had with the city of Madera. This last week, we approached them and the golf course, specifically staff out there, to talk about opportunities for partnership. We are actively looking at a potential new connection from the MID pipeline that runs right next to the driving range and connecting into where one of their wells are, so that they can have 2 points of connection to maximize their capacity ability when we are running water to take water. Those both go to their lakes out there, which then they pump out for their irrigation system. We're also looking at potentially 2 other projects where their storm basin is at the off of road 23, right?
24,
3. 23 at the corner by the
16.
Charles should know.
16, it's the old, our old
23 and 16.
Yeah, we had there to pump return water out.
Yeah.
So with the closure of the runway there, they may be able to actually utilize that corner as a recharge facility. There's also a lake on the golf course that doesn't hold water, which is a great opportunity also to make a connection to MID water for recharge purposes, which could be a joint project between the city of Madera and MID. So we're pretty eager. We met with the city manager, and he's eager to get a joint project put together, similar to the one that we recently did in Berry Basin. So we'll be working with them on that. Hopefully we can get some projects in line that'll be really good for the city and MID to have a partnership to show related to city compliance. So that was positive, and at staff level, we're trying to push that to get those projects underway as soon as possible. We recently met with NRCS and Sustainable Conservation to look for joint partnerships related to potential funds that come out and look for ways to have grants or other studies done to connect new facilities to MID to serve growers in our district that don't currently have facilities, and potentially utilize some funding that may be available in the near future there, and look for other opportunities. So that was positive. Actually, Dean, if you have anything to add on that. But I think it was good to introduce the two groups together because they kind of have some similar goals.
Yeah, and in fact, some of the key people that work for Sustainable Conservation used to work for NRCS too, so they're very tied into the state office. So I think it's going to be a really nice partnership if we can partner with both NRCS and Sustainable Conservation on programs for landowners and growers within our district. So it's still very much under development, but we are in discussions with them, and hopefully we can put something together. So, and actually, that's a follow-up to an email that Brian Davis sent
Yeah.
a while back to us. So yep, got that going. Good job, Director.
You made the introduction, and
Yeah.
that then created a conversation, and since then we've had a joint conversation between the two parties, and we see an opportunity to partner on something. So that was a good find there, Brian.
Good job.
We continue our public outreach. Actually, Demus recently did a bunch of presentations at Howard School, so that was when school was still in session. But we continue to look for opportunities to do that. A bunch of our other stuff has recently been canceled, but those are important, and kids tend to take information home to their parents. Update on Madera Chowchilla Water Power Authority. I did draft an agreement for MIDs to be reimbursed for taking over the general management services related to the authority. So that has been provided to the authority's legal counsel for review. It has not been provided to our legal counsel for our internal review yet. It's still a rough structure, and once it gets into a more of a draft form, we'll then go back to the agencies for internal review and comment. So hopefully in April, which is the next authority meeting, there'll be something to discuss in concept, and then the goal is to have it adopted and a transition to occur in July. So that is getting a little bit of traction as far as putting together the documents now. And that is it, unless there's any questions for today.
Questions or comments?
Did, when they had the release for the riparian, did they get a chance to try that gate up at the dam, the low flow gate?
Yeah, so
How did that work out?
So they have not completed the inspection that I'm aware of yet, but they were able to facilitate the lower flows because the reservoir was at a lower head elevation. We're very grateful that they were willing to give that a shot. They've got it down to 25 CFS. They have some different parameters that we're to work within. They do plan on inspecting it very soon, so hopefully that inspection will provide whether it wasn't damaged, if the sock wasn't damaged in any way, and then we can continue to utilize those lower flows. That was very good news.
Okay. Very good.
Item 5, recurring business. 5A, update on Fresno River adjudication and facilitation process. Director of Business does have a comment.
So, as the board and the public are aware, we've been engaged in the facilitation or mediation process on behalf of the district, in addition to some of the other landowners along the Fresno River and the mediators. Obviously, that is all the subject of a confidentiality and mediation agreement that all the parties have been required to sign as a result of their participation in that process. So unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot we can discuss in a public setting other than MID, of course, is doing its best to participate in that process and provide helpful information to all the parties who are engaged. So if that process is ultimately unsuccessful or reasonable progress isn't made toward a potential resolution, then the state board will be calling this back to consider the issuance of the petition that we filed to start the adjudication process outright.
Okay. Question for council?
No.
You okay? Do you have any more to add to it?
I was just going to let the board know that, well, there's been 2 plenary meetings since the last board meeting, and MID was asked to present.
Well, yeah, I don't think that we can disclose, in session, kind of what's happened in the plenary meetings.
Okay. I just wanted the board to be aware that we've been participating as requested.
Yes, the district has received a lot of information requests, and the district is, and when I say the district, I primarily mean Dina, has been very active in trying to supply all that information.
Okay. Thank you. Good business.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. There it is. New business.
Oh, yeah, I'll just that.
Sustainable conservation is under some travel restrictions, so we will need to go ahead and table 6A until future meeting. We'll have to work with them on scheduling something in the near future. Fortunately, they had a very positive presentation showing some of the recharge efforts of last year. We're excited to present that to the board, but due to the current conditions, we'll have to delay that.
Okay. So, 6B.
Yeah, well, I just need a motion to
Oh.
table.
Do I have a motion? Table 6A.
I'll move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
First and second, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Very good.
Item 6B, discussion possible action on the appointment of an interim treasurer and controller, and that's resolution number 2020-06.
As you should be aware, our prior controller / treasurer last day was last Friday, so at this time we do need to appoint an interim controller. It is staff's recommendation that Jennifer, your current assistant controller, be put in an interim status along with the contract associated with that while we work through this transitional period. At staff level, I have the utmost confidence in Jennifer's capabilities to fulfill that role. She's really stepped in even as of recent, and been involved in the budgeting process and even the audit this year, along with all of the other general day-to-day accounting processes. So it is staff's recommendation to have Jennifer serve in that role as interim treasurer controller. Along with that, we will be taking this to the authority so she can be the auditor treasurer for that facility at a future meeting date.
Okay. Questions?
Does she accept?
Well, I want to thank her for stepping up already before this appointment and filling in for in this transitional period and doing such a great job for the district. She's very knowledgeable. She's worked in many departments and knows both the water side and the accounting side. So she's definitely the best person to fill this
For
role.
resolution 2020-06.
First,
I'll second.
David, second. Poll the board, please.
Director LaFauci,
Yes.
Director Cousins,
Pleasure. Yes.
Director Davis,
Yes.
Director Jansen,
Happy with
Director Ed.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
Or we'll see.
Jennifer,
Thanks, Jennifer.
you've always stepped through the trials and tribulations of the departments, and so we have great confidence.
Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, 6C, discussion possible direction on annexation of MID-owned parcel APN 044-1092-009.
Yeah, so this is the parcel that, if the board recalls, we discussed a few board meetings ago related to Bradley Ford Water District. So this parcel is actually owned by MID, but within Bradley Ford Water District. And so we've had discussions with Bradley Ford Water District over the years. They recently completed an annexation and a sphere of influence boundary change, from my understanding, with LAFCO. And so through those discussions, we decided it was time, and Bradley Ford actually submitted a letter to LAFCO saying that the letter was quite long and had some other requests in there, but essentially saying they wouldn't protest MID de-annexing from Bradley Ford and annexing this parcel into MID. So we just have a clean cut situation where MID owns the parcel and it's within MID. Because as you recall, just recently Bradley Ford passed a Prop 218 that has fees associated with Sigma and such. MID also pays other fees to Bradley Ford, including standby charges and such, because it's within Bradley Ford Water District. So it's a 411, almost 412 acre parcel, and we just wanted the board's direction, if you would like, for us to go ahead and de-annex it from Bradley Ford Water District and annex it into MID.
So which parcel?
It's the blue,
The blue.
yes.
And then there's a little square there that,
That
piece
is not owned by MID anymore.
That piece is actually farmed.
So the red boundary is MID, the green boundary is Gravelly Ford, the light blue is the parcel in discussion.
And that's not farmed.
No, that's MID.
MID owned is not.
MID owned, not farmed.
Yep.
It was not brought in the last annexation due to the fact that it was in Gravelly Ford. So,
No,
and so that in essence, as far as segment, there is that between the green and the red line going up there, that is white land.
No.
Gravelly Ford.
Oh, between this,
Oh,
in
yeah.
this line and that one?
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good, running clear from right
yes,
here up.
that's my understanding.
Okay.
Now, Bradley Ford is amending some of their boundaries and different things, so I'm not sure what the future plans are, but that's our knowledge as it stands today.
I say we annex it in with the rest of the ranch, and it only makes sense.
So we
So
just
we have-
need
yeah,
direction you don't need, because we have to, eventually we'll come back. and-
Yeah, there's gonna be many actions related to this,
Right.
because taking it out of one district and putting it in another district
More
is
for
quite a few
LAFCO.
steps at LAFCO. But we do want the board's direction before we start those type of things. We are gonna have to have some consultants to assist us
I
with
think
this.
we're all in favor of getting into our district, right?
That angle there is where the Gravelly Ford is, the canal.
Right.
The west boundary.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your direction, go after it.
Okay.
Okay,
More to come?
yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Not exactly
More for-
quick process.
Yes.
Okay, item 7, director reports, committee reports, future agenda items.
Mr. Cousins?
Happy to see all the maintenance that's going on. Wish we were running water, but it's good to see there's a lot of maintenance going on all over. I see more starting to happen in my area of the district now, so I'm pleased with that. And fortunately, we're getting some rains. We get the herbicides in that they're applying. Had people ask me why there's no water in the ditches yet.
Did you tell them to look at the mountains
You know,
2 days ago?
Has it rained? What are we gonna do?
Where do they live?
We're gonna save this for the summer. And, they're wondering, you have any idea what the price of water is gonna be?
How much water?
And
We sort of wonder that.
Yeah. A lot of variables.
It's not gonna be cheap,
Yeah.
That's how we run the district, and not gonna be a lot to go around.
I'm still optimistic.
Hey, we're still in that miracle market.
Exactly.
Mr. Lewis.
Rick, did you have to report?
On the February 26th, Carl and I met as the ad hoc infrastructure committee, and there was some discussions referring to outside of the district request, can MID water supply be designated? Answer is no. These parcels are outside of MID. MID water supply cannot be designated. Will MID be the CEQA lead agency? No, these are projects for parcels located outside of MID service area. Other public agencies such as Madera County could serve as a CEQA lead agency. How to handle temporary facilities. Continue to handle temporary facilities as we have in the past. And an example of that being if there's a canal that's adjacent to some lands that someone does not have a turnout on, we've allowed portable pumping plants in the past to get through that year before facilities can be established or built for that. We continue to have that flexibility in the future. U.S. Bureau of Reclamation Facilities project proponent must approach the Bureau, complete all approvals through the Bureau, may not designate any of MID's water supply as a project supply. So we've had some requests to those. I think this is the last meeting. Someone was in to talk about those. MID will not be a CEQA lead agency. Must enter into a MID reimbursement agreement prior to anything taking place. Project proponent is responsible for designs from a licensed engineer. Designs must be approved by the Bureau in cooperation with Madera ID. MID will not construct facilities. Projects off the MC&I facilities, MID will not be the CEQA lead agency. May not designate any of MID's water supply as a project supply. Must enter into a MID reimbursement agreement. Project proponent is responsible for designs from a licensed engineer. Those plans must be approved by MID. And MID will not construct any of these facilities. So, Carl, do you have anything to add?
I think that pretty well covers that, it's their responsibility.
Pretty clear, so the staff has something to stand behind it. That's the way we're.
That they can say,
Good.
this is what it is.
Any questions from the other board members? Any questions from the public? That concludes my report.
Thank you very much for getting that taken care of and answering the questions we were getting. Okay, Mr. Davis.
I just echo everything Rick said in the beginning there. Projects from Charles' report is just a massive amount of work seemingly getting done, upgrades, updates, and beautification of a lot of projects that make the district look great. Looks like we have our act together when it comes to these construction projects and everything. It looks really good. So
Even if we don't have the water, huh?
even if we don't have the water. One thing I want to say is I was gone last week, and while I was gone, I got the news that Steve Emmerich had passed away. And so I just want to take a moment. He was a good neighbor to us. I think my family's been neighbors to the Emmerichs for long before I was born.
Oh, yeah.
Long before then. And I often had a lot of good conversations with Steve, passing on the road, and just talk with him as a young farmer to an older farmer who wasn't my dad. And it was always nice, and it was always good to get a perspective of your neighbors and have a good relationship with neighbors. So just take a moment to a little silence for him.
Thank you. Mr. Jansen.
The attended Frank Power Authority, we reorganized at our annual deal. Same officers, I am vice chair of that group. And anticipating all the generators are running, anticipating that with this short water year, of course, we're going to be not generating nearly what we generated last year. And with the McClellan plant finished and put the rest that start maintenance work, it's like any machine that it has to have maintenance work, and so they've been working on it. They had a little vibration and had to, in effect, correct it and get it relined just a little better than it was.
Yeah, Carl, actually I intended to report on that, so thanks for reminding me. They actually had a significant vibration that required them to take it down. I want to commend the staff up there, operations maintenance staff of the Power Authority. They were able to go through that, get a consultant on board, and get it back operational under 2 months. My understanding is there were some significant flaws in the way it was installed. And you're talking, for those of you that have toured it, a multi-story facility, a large, massive piece of equipment that spins at a fairly high rate. So the slight, micrometer, thousandths of a millimeter off. These are mini, tiny little measurements, and they're in there to make those little adjustments to keep that thing balanced. They got it running in much better shape than it originally was, and they have it back operational, and it's back generating power in a short period of time. So I just want to publicly commend the staff up there for getting that done in such a short period of time.
And unless something comes up, we are still going ahead. We have one major repair job that has to take place in the next year and a half. Our original transformers are aging out. And we've already put $1 million from last year's good water year into a fund that hopefully covers the majority of that cost. So we got that part, and it's now doing the engineering, and probably in the fall, replace the transformers that have been there since the 70s. And so that's the main work going on up there, and we're not anticipating that we'll meet every month. We probably will meet every other month or every third month.
The disagreements and all that are now done, right?
The what?
All the disagreements we had before, all
Oh,
settled
yeah,
out,
we've
all that.
settled all the things with the engineering firm and the construction company. And I have been attending the regional water management group deals, and we're due to have a meeting this Monday, but right now it looks like we probably will not have that meeting. Yeah.
So you're gonna hire a new,
We're interviewing to hire a new note taker for the blueprint, and as executive secretary, Chad. Perfect. We've interviewed 2, and we have 3 more interviews to go. And this whole not having more than so many people is sort of complicating when we're maybe going to do this.
Thank you. Mr. LaWashington.
just to reiterate, it's great to see all the work that's being done on the system, but, yeah, Steve, going back to Steve, that the Emmert family has a unique history with the irrigation district and the systems, and Steve was just in my office 3 weeks prior to that, and it's terrible. The other thing I'll just bring up, not to be on a downer, but not so much that he did a lot of business with MID, but another long time, Darren Cattleman, Mikey Rudy passed away.
Yeah, he did a lot. He was our renter for.
Well, he rented a long time, but other than yeah, but I mean, long time, but Darren and character really. Anyway, so Mike passed away.
Thursday.
Last week.
Last Wednesday. Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
And I've been attending Bryant Water Authority meetings. We're still working on whether we're moving forward with title transfer. They're working hard with it. We're still involved with the Bryant Kern side of it. We keep stabbing them every now and then to make sure you don't forget about the Darren Churchill over there. So they're aware of it. I think you're seeing some of the stuff come through. Have you seen some of that, John?
So Scott Cooney's tracking it on behalf of the
Okay,
authority.
Scott's doing it, all right. Other than that, we have a meeting, our executive meeting was changed last minute because they closed where we were supposed to have it, so Tommy and I actually stayed in the office yesterday and listened, and then, I'm not sure what we're doing on Thursday, or a week Thursday, because we know it's not gonna be where it was, but we're not sure where it's gonna be, or if it's not gonna be.
Meet in some parking lot and have chairs, you know,
Yeah.
every 10 feet away.
Everything's kind of in flux with everything's going on. So, anything else anybody has to share? With that, our next meeting will be April 21st. And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.
And, Warren, stick around for a second.
You're here?
It's 1:30.
Yeah.
We're waiting on,
That was the
I've
thing.
been-
I made some calls on, I made some calls on it, and then that water just stuck in. Plus, I don't have no water. They're folding it out and putting it in. I had a note, and it's only 2.5 years, it's a brand new pump.
Yeah, that's, we can't use it like.
Did he get electric, come back, kind
Well, I just echo everything Rick said in the beginning there. Projects, Charles and